Now, I want to talk to you today about something that changed the whole direction of my life. And I remember exactly where I was when I first understood it. I was a young man not doing particularly well, and a wise man looked at me and said, Mr. Rohn, how long have you been poor? And that question stung. But here's what I want you to understand. The day my life started to change was not the day my circumstances changed. It was the day I changed. And that's the whole lecture right there. If you want to leave early, but stay with me, because there's more to say. Let me ask you something. How many people do you know who are waiting? Waiting for a break, waiting for someone to discover them, waiting for the economy to turn, for the boss to notice, for the timing to be right, for confidence to arrive before they act. I've met thousands of these people over the years, all over the world, and I'll tell you what I've learned. Waiting is not a strategy. Waiting is not humility. Waiting is just fear, wearing a very patient-looking disguise. And while folks wait, here's what happens. Life doesn't wait with them. The days turn into weeks. The weeks turn into months. And before you know it, years have slipped by, and the dream is sitting in the exact same spot where it started, gathering dust, while the person who dreamed it has gotten older, more tired, and a little more bitter. Not because the dream was impossible, not because they lacked talent, but because they were waiting for somebody else to do what only they could do for themselves. Glenn. So let me give you a truth that's hard to swallow but easy to use. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to knock on your door and hand you discipline. Nobody is coming to make you get up early, to make you read the books, to make you say no to what's comfortable so you can say yes to what's valuable. That job belongs to you and you alone. And once you accept that, really accept it, down in your bones, something remarkable happens. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and you start becoming the architect of your future. Now understand, I'm not telling you that you won't get help. You will. Life is generous that way. You'll find mentors who see something in you before you see it in yourself. You'll find friends who'll stand with you when the road gets rough. You'll stumble into opportunities you didn't even know existed. All of that is real, and all of that is a blessing. But here's the catch. None of it, not one bit of it, can replace your own effort. Nobody can do your push-ups for you. Nobody can read your books for you. Nobody can practice discipline on your behalf while you sit back and watch. You've got to do the work every single day. That's not the bad news, my friends. That is the good news, because it means the power is still in your hands. Now, let's talk about success for a minute, because people get this wrong all the time. They think it's about being in the right place at the right time, or knowing the right person, or getting a lucky break. But I've studied successful people my whole life, and I'll tell you what I found. Success is not mysterious, and it's not an accident. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's it. That's the whole secret, and it isn't much of a secret at all. It's just that most people won't do it. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, and you've got to walk across that bridge yourself, one step at a time, every single day, whether you feel like it or not. And discipline, my friends, begins exactly where excuses end. You cannot have both. You cannot build a strong life on a foundation of excuses. Excuses are like little termites. They don't knock your house down in one dramatic moment. They eat away at the foundation quietly, one small bite at a time, until one day the whole structure collapses. and you wonder how it happened. That's how excuses work. I was too tired. I didn't have the time. I'll start Monday. It's not the right season for me. Each excuse sounds so reasonable in the moment. But repeat that excuse 1,000 times, and it stops being an excuse. It becomes your character. It becomes who you are. Now, here's something I want you to write down. It's not what happens to you that determines your life. It's what you do about what happens to you. Two people can face the exact same setback, same layoff, same rejection, same failure, and one of them will let it define them while the other lets it refine them. The circumstance is identical. The response is everything. And responsibility means you stop saying, this is happening to me, and you start saying, I will do something about this. That single shift in language will change the entire direction of your life. Let's talk about complaining for a moment, because I think it's one of the most expensive habits a person can have. Complaining feels good for about 10 seconds. It feels like release. It feels like relief. But what is complaining really? It's surrender dressed up as venting. Every time you complain about your circumstances, instead of changing your response to them, you're handing away a little piece of your power, and you can't afford to keep doing that. Success-minded people feel disappointment too. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They get knocked down. They face rejection. They have bad years. The difference is they don't build a house there. They don't move in and unpack their bags in disappointment. They visit it, they learn what it has to teach them, and then they leave. So here's a question worth asking yourself honestly. And I mean, really honestly, not the answer you give in polite company. What has making excuses cost you so far? The gym membership you never used, the certification you never finished, the conversation you never had, the business you never started, not because you didn't have what it takes, but because you talked yourself out of it, one small, reasonable sounding excuse at a time. And here's the sobering part. If you don't interrupt that pattern, tomorrow's excuse will sound just as reasonable as today's, and you'll be having the same conversation with yourself in 5 years, in 10 years, unless you make one decision right now to stop. Banned. Now, I want to talk to you about the lonely seasons because everybody goes through them and nobody talks about them enough. There are stretches of life that are quiet. Nobody's clapping. Nobody's checking in on your progress. You're working hard and nobody notices. You're growing, but nobody around you understands what you're becoming. And in those seasons, doubt shows up and starts whispering, is this even working? Am I wasting my time? Am I the only one doing this alone? I want you to know those thoughts are normal. Nearly everybody has them. But normal doesn't mean true. Think about a farmer planting a seed. He puts that seed in the ground, and for weeks, nothing visible happens. No stalk breaking through the soil. No green leaf reaching for the sun. Just dirt sitting there, looking exactly the same as it did the day before. But underneath that soil, something is happening that the eye cannot see. Roots are spreading. A foundation is forming, strong enough to eventually hold up a full-grown plant against wind and weather. And if that farmer dug the seed up every week to check on its progress because he got impatient, he'd kill it before it ever had a chance to grow. Your life works exactly the same way. What feels like delay is often development. What feels like silence is often preparation. Don't judge your progress only by what's visible today. Judge it by what you're quietly becoming beneath the surface. And here's what I've come to believe about those lonely seasons. They're not punishment. their preparation. It is easy, very easy, to stay disciplined when the crowd is cheering for you. Anybody can stay motivated with applause ringing in their ears. But real strength, the kind that lasts, the kind that holds up a life, that gets built in the quiet places, when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping, when it would be so easy to quit and nobody would even know. That's where character gets forged, not in the spotlight, in the solitude. Plengy. Now, let me say something about becoming, because I think we spend too much time chasing the wrong prize. Most people are focused entirely on outcomes, the paycheck, the title, the recognition, the finish line. And there's nothing wrong with wanting those things. But here's what I've learned after a lifetime of studying successful men and women. The greater value in life is not what you get. The greater value is what you become in the process of getting it. Set a goal to become a millionaire, not for the $1 million, but for what it will make of you to achieve it. It's the real prize. The bank account is just evidence of the person you had to become to earn it. Geez. So don't chase success like it's a rabbit you might catch if you run fast enough. Build yourself into the kind of person success can't help but find. That's a whole different approach to life, and it changes everything about how you spend your days. Let's talk about what it means to be unstoppable, because I don't want you walking away thinking that means never struggling, never doubting, never feeling afraid. An unstoppable person isn't someone who has no fear. It's someone who feels the fear and keeps walking anyway. It's someone who fails on Tuesday and shows back up on Wednesday. Unstoppable people are not born special. I want you to hear that clearly. They are built brick by brick, decision by decision, through years of ordinary days where they simply refuse to quit. That's available to every single person listening to me right now. It's not reserved for the talented few. It's available cheap, plain now. Here's a phrase I want you to remember. What you become directly influences what you get, not the other way around. People spend their whole lives trying to rearrange their circumstances, chasing a better job, a better house, a better relationship, thinking that will finally make them into the person they want to be. But it works backward from how they think. Become the disciplined person and the results follow. Become the person who reads instead of watches television every night for a year, and watch what happens to your mind. Become the person who exercises even on the days you don't feel like it, and to your confidence. You don't wait to become strong before you start lifting the weight. You lift the weight, and that's how you become strong. I want to leave you with this. Your life will not change when the world around you changes. I want you to really hear that, because so many people are waiting on the world to be fair before they start trying. Waiting for the economy to improve. Waiting for their boss to finally appreciate them. Waiting for their family to finally support them. And they may wait forever because the world owes you nothing, and it was never going to hand you your future gift wrapped. Your life changes when you change. That's the whole formula. Not complicated, just difficult, because it requires something of you every single day. Cleanse. So here's what I'd ask you to do starting today. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the applause. Stop waiting for somebody else to build the life you were meant to build. Look in the mirror, because the person capable of changing everything is already standing right there, looking back at you. Not next year, not someday, today. Bleed. No more excuses, set them down. They're too heavy to carry, and they've never gotten anybody anywhere. No more waiting. The good things you want in life will not simply arrive because enough time passed. No more blaming your season, your circumstances, or your beginning, because none of that determines your ending. Only your response does. Just discipline, practice daily, quietly, without needing an audience. Take responsibility for your life today. Not because it's easy, it isn't, but because it's yours and it always was. Nobody is coming. And once you truly accept that, you'll stop seeing it as bad news. You'll see it for what it really is, the most liberating truth you'll ever hear. Because it means the future is still unwritten and the pen is still in your hand. Please. So work harder on yourself than you do on anything else, because everything else in your life will only grow to the degree that you do. Build the discipline in the private hours when nobody's watching, because that's where it truly counts. Let your habits, repeated daily, become your character. Let your character, sustained over years, become your legacy. Lynn, nobody is coming, my friends. And that is exactly why you can become unstoppable.